first and foremost, thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate you taking the time. I know you've said you've been in football, been around it since you were 5 years old. Football crazed Texas. What is young Mike Norvell's first actual tangible experience with football?
I remember I started off flag football when I was 5, and it was just something that I fell in love with. I think it was the first couple of years, just going out there playing, enjoying the experience, and then I think it was when I was 6, I believe it was the first year that I went into tackle. I remember I played tight end and defensive end, and I wasn't a very big guy, but just loved getting out there and competing and learning how to hit people and it be okay. And then as I continued to grow up, probably the first experience that really ever stood out to me was one of my first games of the season, and I got put back as the kick returner, for my team, and got my first kickoff that was sent back to me, and be able to pick it up and run for a touchdown. I always remember that moment, and just the feeling and the teammates celebrating, and it was I was hooked from that point. And it's been an incredible journey as a player, and then to be able to be a coach, and just what this game has meant to me and provided for me, on and off the field, has just been really special.
When you first took the job here at Florida State, one of the guys you singled out and thanked was David Reese, one of your former Pop Warner coaches. Am I correct on that? Why Coach Reese? What stood out?
I mean, he was just a great man, and I remember as I was coming up in that youth league, it was an entire organization, and they were Coach Reese and his father were the coaches for the Broncos, which was the oldest group, and that was a team that everybody wanted to play for. They won the most championships, and I remember that when I got drafted to them, I was so excited, and just it was like being drafted by the Cowboys at that time. It was like you were on the right team, and when I got to be a part of that group, and just how they were, and not only the teaching of the fundamentals of the game, but really caring about the kids that play for them. And as we went through, I would stay at his house. I played quarterback for him. I would stay at his house a few times a week. He had a couple of younger boys, but it was just such a great man, and just he was always about giving to others. And it was funny because I played Pop Warner football for him for a couple of years, and then when I was in high school, he actually got a job at a high school, and I ended up going to his high school to be able to play again for him, and it was a lifetime relationship. But there was one that he just served others, and it was about the experience of his players and what he could do to help provide them an opportunity to grow. And I was a direct product of that, and it's been special just as I've gotten into coaching and been able to have my career, for him to still be a part of that. He was on the field there in the Miami game when we won. I got a picture that I'll say forever, and just thinking about that experience and that journey, and it's really led to the heart and the philosophy that I have as a coach as well.
So when did your switch to wide receiver begin, if you played quarterback?
I was probably, I think it was my junior year in high school. I wasn't the biggest of guys, and I knew that I'd probably, even though I really liked playing quarterback, I knew that my future, if I wanted to have a chance to play in college, was probably going to be in a different position. And so, we made the switch. I played the last years. I was a defensive back, free safety, and wide receiver, and I just loved the position. I loved all aspects of the technique, the daily challenge of having to get open against one of the best players out on the field, going against corners and different defensive backs, and I love the position, and it was one that I trained hard at, and I was fortunate to be able to get an opportunity to go play it in college, and it just kind of set me on my way.
Yeah. So speaking of college, when does UCA come into the picture?
Well, I actually started off at Louisiana Tech. It was a unique situation. I started school really early, so I was a 16-year-old senior. I guess not many people know, but I went through my high school playing career. I was All-State my senior year, but I was 16 years old. I think I weighed probably 150 pounds at the time, and I knew I wasn't physically mature to where I wanted to be able to go play college. And so I actually, stayed in high school for a 5th year. And with that, my high school head coach at the time was a guy named Mike Barber, and he provided an opportunity for me I stayed in school, took a couple classes, but then I was also a coach for the school. So I was a receiver coach, defensive back coach. I was actually offensive coordinator for the junior high team, and and then was able to do a lot of things with the junior varsity and similar approach. And so it was a great experience for me. I trained all throughout the year. I was able to gain weight, put myself in a position. I went to Louisiana Tech. I was there for my first year in college, and then our offensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech went to Central Arkansas and provided an opportunity for me. I made the transition there, and then that kind of kick-started the football career that I had at UCA.
So you meet Coach Conque at UCA. I know he's another guy that you shouted out as obviously a legend in his own right with the Bears. Just what did you learn from him, and do you consider him a big influence in what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I was grateful for the opportunity, and as I started, in college, like I said, I wasn't the most highly recruited, guy coming out, so I started as a walk-on, and I remember, he still provided me that opportunity, and I came in and had to compete, and was fortunate enough to start my redshirt freshman year, there, even though I wasn't on scholarship, he still gave me the chance, and I was able to take advantage of that, earned a scholarship, went on to having a career that I loved there at UCA. But I mean, we were very innovative in what we did offensively. We threw the ball around. We were able to do a lot of different things with read routes and things that I love to do at the receiver position, and that has an influence in kind of what we do still here today. I really liked the passing game that we had, and it was a great experience for me, and I was honored for the opportunity to not only play for him, but then when I was done playing, he gave me my first GA job, and I coached there for a year. Gave me a lot of responsibility, and you really kickstarted my coaching career.
You get your first GA job, as you said there. Your second GA job comes from someone you meet at UCA. Don Struby, just what does that name mean to you? And for those who don't know the story, just how did that all come about?
Yeah, Don Struby was actually a former UCA player. He played offensive line there, was a GA right before I got there, and as I was coming in, he was going out. He actually took the offensive line coaching job at Springdale High School, and but he still came back to UCA and was around the program whenever they would have breaks and things like that. And it was an opportunity where I got to meet him actually at a practice, and was a great experience. Just to be able to really kind of be unique, and he was over on the sideline, and we got a chance to interact, went over and said hello, and really kind of kick-started a relationship that over the next couple of years, he would come back from time to time, and we would always interact during that. But really unbeknownst to me, 5 years later, that introduction, that handshake really provided the spark for my my coaching career, and because I didn't know at the time, but Gus Malzahn was the head coach at Springdale High School, and as he went and transitioned into the college ranks, 5 years later, he happened to call Don Struby and ask, "Hey, do you know of any young coaches that'd be interested in a GA job?" And Don gave him my name, and it was something that opened the door, provided an opportunity to go interview, and kind of the rest is history.
You end up at Tulsa, not obviously knowing you're around smart guys and capable people, but I mean, Gus Malzahn, Todd Graham, these are folks who become the 2000s, 2010s of offense in the college game. Just put me back in your shoes back then. Just how much of a sponge were you, and how much of it was just football Candyland?
Yeah, I mean, it was even in that decision, it was I was a GA at UCA, and I will say this, Coach Conque, at the time when I got offered the GA job at Tulsa, he provided me a full-time opportunity, and it was one of those decisions I had to make. I finally had a full-time job that was there for me, or I could go and be a GA again. And I chose to go be a GA. It wasn't very much money at all. I mean, it was a sacrifice in the moment, but it was something I was willing to bet on myself. And I wanted to build relationships. I wanted to kind of get a new perspective and a unique approach to Obviously, Coach Malzahn was a great offensive mind. Coach Graham, you did great things as a head coach, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to grow and expand that network, and really try to go prove myself. And I went every day just trying to put forth my best foot, take in all the information I could know, and prove my value in what I could bring to the university, as whether it's recruiting, whether it's doing the dirty work of being. I was trying to be the best coffee getter that you could ever have, and just all those things. What could I do to separate myself? And I was fortunate that those guys gave me a chance, and I tried to make the most of it, and it really helped spark some major steps in my coaching career by the willingness to take that short-term sacrifice.
And I don't think sometimes the public understands just how hard sometimes those sacrifices as a GA can be. Do you kind of think that sometimes people get that understanding?
Yeah, it's an absolute grind, and I'm grateful. My wife Maria was incredible. We actually got married when I was in college. My last year, she was just finishing her master's. She got a job. When I jumped into going to be a GA at Tulsa, I was making $400 a month at UCA, and I doubled that to $800 a month at Tulsa. So it was a big deal. But Maria actually, she quit our job in Arkansas, and we went to Tulsa, and really just believing in faith that we would find the right opportunity and be able to support ourselves. But it was a chance we were willing to take, and Maria was incredible throughout it. But even during that time of being a GA, the hours, there were not many nights that I was ever getting home before midnight, and there was never a morning I was going in later than 6 a.m. It was full time to the utmost degree. But I wanted to be a part of the process, and all the busy work of what a GA has. I tried to do that when all the coaches had left, and it was just about that. Trying to be present and to learn from every avenue that I could, and I just wanted to make the most of the opportunity that I was provided, and I felt like I was able to do that.
So let's fast forward a bit. You work your way onto staff. You end up following Coach Graham to Pittsburgh. You end up going to Arizona State as well. What was it like moving up in one program in particular, even though it's technically different stops, and eventually taking over as offensive coordinator, and what really allowed you to come into your own in that role?
Yeah, I always tried, no matter what job I had, whether as a GA, whenever I became a receiver coach, and then eventually as an offensive coordinator, I always tried to make sure I was doing the best that I could possibly do in that job, to fulfill the responsibilities, making sure I was giving all to those that I was in charge of. But then I also wanted to prepare myself as if I was the position that I desired. When I was a receiver coach, I always tried to prepare as if I was the offensive coordinator, so that if the moment ever arose, that I would be ready. And it was a fun journey for me, and I spent a lot of years as a receiver coach. I had a background at quarterback, but I wanted to be ready, that if I became an offensive coordinator, I wanted to be able to transition to quarterbacks, and so I prepared throughout those years to be able to do that. And I'll never forget when we went to Arizona State and had the chance to be the offensive coordinator and coach quarterbacks and put together a staff. It was something that it was new. I was one of the youngest offensive coordinators in all of college football, but I felt prepared because of the work that had been done leading up to that point. And it was a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
You guys really had it rolling. Just what really do you feel like had you guys at the pinnacle at that point, running so smoothly on offense?
We've always tried to take a great deal of pride in having an offense that was built for the playmakers that we had, and we wanted to be versatile. I give a lot of credit. You going back to the days of being around Gus Malzahn and a lot of the great coaches that I was around, but also Coach Graham, the head coach, was basically essentially a defensive coordinator as a head coach, and I learned so much ball in what the defense was trying to do and how the best ways to kind of attack that, and really developed a philosophical approach, but also things that I thought created great challenges, and we had some wonderful players there, great coaches, and we were able to adapt and adjust to the strengths that we had, and you look back through that 4-year period of time, and there were some great days and some great games and special seasons that we were able to accomplish because of those wonderful players and just what we were able to do.
So you guys are clicking. And when does Memphis come on the radar? Was being a head coach something that you were actively looking into? Was it something that just kind of, hey, Memphis has inquired about you? I guess kind of walk me through that process now.
Yeah, there was, there had been other opportunities and other calls, but, I wasn't in a rush to have to be a head coach. If I was going to be a head coach, I wanted it to be the right head coaching job. And it's something I've always, throughout my coaching career, I mean, there were almost every year I had another job offer for usually more money or a different situation or potentially a bigger school from time to time. But it wasn't just about the move. I wasn't chasing something. I wanted to be the best I could be in the moment at the right place where I felt peace and comfort of what I was doing. And, to be able to have, those years and to see the growth and, when the Memphis opportunity presented itself, there was another job, at the time that was available. It also had inquired, everything with Memphis just felt right. And when I got a chance to interview with them, it was a one meeting, interview, and I was offered the job at the end of the meeting. I called Maria right at the end of the interview, and told her that I was offered the job, and I didn't have much negotiating power because I think they heard her excitement and joy whenever we made that call. But I mean, it was special. It was the right fit. It was the right time, and even though I was the youngest head coach in college football at the time, it was meant to be. And to be able to go and have that transition, it's always hard leaving a place, but when you know that it's the right fit, and that's what gave us a lot of comfort. And obviously our players from Arizona State were all excited for us and the move that we're making.
You mentioned it. You become the youngest head coach in major college football. There's always that saying, you never want to be the guy after the guy. And at the time, I mean, Justin Fuente was the guy at Memphis. I mean, they had such success. Vault him into, of course, the Virginia Tech position. You have the opportunity and the chance, and in some ways the challenge of following up what had been arguably the most successful program in program history. Just did you kind of welcome and embrace that challenge of trying to get Memphis to that next step, or was there any sort of I don't want to say intimidation, but sometimes taking over that spot can be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you go into a program that had recent success, and it was some of the greatest success that they had. Not only do you have Coach Fuente, but you had a first-round draft pick quarterback. You have some really good players that had been a part of that team that were departing, and so it was a new opportunity for everybody. And I think that building the trust, and even though things changed within the program, building that trust on a day in, day out basis was something that was critical. And was able to hire a great staff, was able to recruit some really impressive players. Because with some of that change, I mean, there was a lot of roster turnover. I mean, I think it was our second year at Memphis. It was, I want to say, 15 of the 22 starters were guys that we had brought in within that year and a half period of time. So it was a lot of turnover. But building that foundation, setting that belief and trust in where we were going, and not just on that short-term transition, but really trying to establish something that was going to last and grow. And that was something that had not been done at Memphis before, in any time in that recent past. And so we really, it was important. And I loved the time there. Once again, coached remarkable players. We're able to get some great guys that were there, wonderful coaches, and made for a special run.
Anytime a new coach comes in our profession, you always want to do your homework, see where the guy's come from, what he's all about. You take the job at Florida State, and obviously everybody starts reading everything they can, looking at everything. All the social media, anything from Memphis fans, those folks love you. They adore you. And it seemed like you certainly loved that community and that campus back. Just what was that bond like through that 4 years, your first head coaching job, building off that success, and to just have this city embrace you the way it seemed Memphis did?
I mean, it's a special place, and that's when I talk about the fit. I mean, that's important. And when I was at Memphis, a lot of coaches say, well, there's, different things, and when it comes to other jobs, I mean, I was very happy there, and it was going to have to take something special for me to leave there, and truly the right fit, because we poured so much into the community, and to see their response from the community. I mean, I still think back to when we were able to host game day, and sold out Liberty Bowl, and just to be able to get to where you win the conference, you're playing in a New Year's Day Bowl, all of those things. I mean, that was the pinnacle of what we had all sought out years prior. But I mean, it was we represented the community the way it deserved to be represented, and we did love it. And to when it was time and Florida State opportunity became available, there was such an incredible piece about coming here, because this place, what it has stood for over all of time, the opportunity to come and really rebuild this program to the standard of what it is expected here at Florida State. And it was very similar. It's coming to Tallahassee. I mean, this is a community that loves Florida State, and it is critical for our program to represent this community, this university, our fan base in a first-class manner, and it's all been a part of this process. And so it was the same sense of peace I had going to be the head coach at Memphis was what I had when making the decision to come to Florida State. Even having to choose through some different options, whether we're staying or going, or different schools that were inquiring at the time. I mean, this was right, and it's something that I'm grateful for, and excited about where it's all going because of the path of what it's taken.
You mentioned game day. It made me think of that SMU game. That was a really good football game. So you talked about the path to Florida State. We'll touch a little bit more on that. When did FSU first pop on your radar there in that season?
I mean, it's I'd say anytime there's coaching changes, we were in the midst of a championship run there at Memphis, but they had reached out to representatives that I have, and I knew that there would be a possibility. We actually had a bye week, at a late point in the season, and was able to communicated everything with the administration at Memphis and let them know that this was something that that I was interested in exploring, and I try to respect the job that I had, but also this was an opportunity that I was very intrigued with. And after the championship game, I mean, it started to after the regular season, as we were going to the championship game, it got real, and this was something that I knew that was going to be a real possibility, and we wanted to finish up the best way that I could, and we could as a football team, and we were able to do that. But then that next day, being able to come to Tallahassee and to take over this program, it's something that I'll never forget. And it was really because of the people that were here, and the vision and the expectation for where we're going, and the process that's behind that. And so I was grateful for the opportunity.
I know when you got here, you mentioned that you were able to meet on that bye week. You've got that. You've got a team that's about to play in the American Championship game. Hopefully, go to a New Year's Six Bowl, and you're trying to figure out, is this the move you want? Just how difficult was that to juggle all that through?
It's a lot. I mean, those are things. I've always believed that when you have to make a big decision, you follow the peace that's in your heart. And I had a tremendous amount of peace of what this opportunity would be. I also knew the challenges that were ahead. But it was. And this is what I'm built for. And to know the things that can be done, the things that have been done here before, it was really what drew me. And you have the example of Coach Bobby Bowden, who, I mean, the incredible career, I mean, the legacy that he built and that he lived here within this program, of that sustained success, where it not only was it great success on the field, but the type of men that were developed off the field is something that's critical in my philosophy. And and just like I said, the importance of the community and our involvement and the impact that we can make. That's what I want to be a part of. And we're excited about the steps that we're taking, and definitely excited about what the future holds.
Touching on that for a second, you mentioned you wanted to come to Florida State because of what you knew it could be, because of what it had been before. just what were some of the differences between taking over a Florida State program based on the potential of what you knew it could be versus the last job you take, which is at the best it's ever been? What's kind of been the differences in going to those programs at kind of two different times in their lives?
Well, and I'd seen that, when I actually went to Arizona State, as a coordinator, we were coming in and a program that really needed that same type of, transition. And, I would say that I've seen both sides of it, but, we knew that anytime you have as much change as there had been here, I mean, it presents a challenge. And, not only, with the head coaches, but, all the different coordinators and these kids and the need and importance of the consistency and one message, one vision, their development, and, making sure that, we had a group of like-minded individuals. And that's, trying to come in and build that. We talk about that foundational growth. I mean, that was something that was so very important in what we had to do. And so, as we talked as a coaching staff and bringing in, a tremendous group to help assist in that process, we had to be consistent. We had to make sure that as much as we could pour into them, that all that we did, help pour into the standard of how we wanted to operate, and as best we could through COVID and all the things that showed up, to try to build that trust. And it's a challenging process, and we got a couple months in, and then we didn't get to see our players for the next few months, due to quarantines and COVID and all those things. So that first year was really challenging in the off season and the things that we had to work through. But as it's been able to continue to further along, I think that consistency and continuity has really helped us build up. And and even throughout this last year, you see the way that our guys respond. It's because of the way that they've worked, the belief that they have in what we're doing, and the opportunities that are ahead.
Coach, it's clear core values and structure mean a whole lot to you. I'm curious, where did service, sacrifice, respect come from?
It's something that, when you think about a family and everybody, on our team, my background, everybody's picture is a little bit different. Whether it's single parent family, two parents, some guys that you've grown up with grandparents, the values of what a family is. I mean, those are things that we want to be able to have and establish for these guys. And families, they serve each other. They give themselves to the betterment of somebody else. Be able to provide structure, being able to provide a standard and accountability. That service is something that has to show up every single day. And you think about the sacrifice of what are you willing to give for ultimately what you want? Are you willing to give up yourself also for somebody else, a part of a greater whole? And then respect. I mean, if there's something that we all desire and should pursue, it's to live a life that's respectable. And in all of our actions and how we treat people and obviously what we're known for, it's something that's important. And when you're part of a family, man, you respect each other, and you try to be respectable in how you represent yourself, your name, and obviously those family values.
You've said that a part of your job is to market your program and your players, and you do some things that are pretty rare in major college football these days. You did that entire youth camp, toured the state of Florida. You're very open with us, let us view practice. There's so many things that when you go down, mega camp in a couple months, inviting in just about any program that wants, wide open the doors, welcome to Florida State. And in a world where it seems like college football is becoming so insular, and it seems like so many programs just want to be in their kind of high castle away, what has made you want to run as open of a program as you do?
Because the opportunity to impact. I mean, I want to be able to share the stories. We're not ashamed of who we are and what we're trying to do to help impact these young men. And I want to help share their stories. I want to be able to impact this community, to impact this state. And the great players that are here that might not have the resources to go out to every camp and to see all the schools. We can't get them all, here at Florida State. But if we can help provide an opportunity, I mean, then we've done a good deed, and we've served this state the way that we can. Those youth camps. I mean, it was coming off one of the most challenging years that our world's ever known, with COVID and all of the young kids, from second grade all the way to eighth grade. I mean, a lot of them never even got to play sports throughout that year, and so by giving back with a night or a camp where they could go out there and have fun and to be around our coaching staff. I mean, it was truly special, and I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to maximize those days and the time that we did have.
I'm curious. I watched an interview with you recently where you said that your favorite athlete is Michael Jordan. And just wondering, through what you've seen of Jordan, what you've read of Jordan, I know just about all of us when we were all locked in our houses were glued to The Last Dance. Just what is it about him that makes you admire him as an athlete? And is there anything from his mindset that you've applied to what you do or your program?
I have a tremendous amount of respect for who he was as a player. I mean, he was a real champion, and the way that he prepared, the way that he invested in what he desired. A lot of people talk about wanting to be great. A lot of people talk about wanting to be the best, but very few people are actually willing to do what's necessary to get to that point. And when you hear about his work ethic, you hear about that passion, the commitment to the grind of day in and day out, trying to be your best. I just think it's something that's very well respected, and obviously he had a great career.
Watched the second episode of The Climb, and you mentioned Miami, Florida State. You're in the middle of the field, making sure nobody's committing any penalties, nothing crazy's happening, and then you think to yourself, gosh, this is so cool. This is Florida State, Miami. We're in the middle of it. It's a back and forth football game. Have you had any more of those just, wow, pinch me type moments over these last couple of years?
I think, it was unique, like I said, with the first year being COVID and not having fans, and the opening game of the season playing Notre Dame, running out of the tunnel, that's something I'll never forget. And just the atmosphere, the crowd. I mean, just the feelings that you get. I mean, that was a crazy night. But the Florida State Miami game was. It was incredible. I mean, in that moment, really kind of took it all in. And it's pretty special. You get to be a part of those experiences. But you try to take every day, regardless of what's out there, just being grateful for the opportunity we have, and also understanding the responsibility we have to go be better and to live up to the standard that we all desire.
Coach, if you could go back and you could go talk to that kid who's playing wide receiver at UCA and tell him what the future looks like for you, from where you've been now and what you hope will be in the future for you and for the program that you hold, what would you tell that guy?
And just every day, regardless of how big your dreams you might be, just strive to be your best, to be a positive influence of others that you're around, and you go make an impact. And you never know where this world will take you. If you would have told me at that point in my life that I would have the opportunity to be a Division I head coach, regardless of where, I probably would have never believed that was a possibility. But even sometimes you have to aspire for dreams that might be bigger than what you think you can even have. But if you put forth your best foot, you go earn it every single day, and you make a positive impact to others that you're around. The sky's the limit to what you can accomplish. And I tell them that's what I tell them, and try to make sure that you're using the influence that you have in a positive way. And it's going to be one heck of a journey.
Coach, I know you're busy finishing up spring, but we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so very much.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate you.